Hello, and welcome to Here by Nature. Today we're going over the book of Ruth and its key verse. I forgot to check the key verse beforehand, so you'll have to pay attention and watch all the way through the video to find that out. But in the meantime, I am going to read from the English Standard Version Journaling Study Bible's Introduction to Ruth, which reads, The author and date. The story of Ruth takes place in the time of the Judges, after the conquest of Canaan and before 1050 BC. No author is named, but the mention of David and his genealogy places the writing sometime after David became king, 2 Samuel 2, in circa 1010 BC. The overall theme: Ruth shows how God's people can experience his sovereignty, wisdom, and covenant kindness. These often come in hard circumstances and are expressed through the kindness of others. There are two key themes to the entire book of Ruth. Kindness. Ruth shows kindness to her mother-in-law, Naomi, by leaving her homeland to care for her. Boaz shows kindness to Ruth as he welcomes her to Israel, acts as her kinsman redeemer, and marries her. Human kindness reflects the Lord's kindness towards his people. And redemption. Redemption is linked to kindness and is the heart of the story. The book of Ruth describes two legal practices combined into one: property redemption by a near kinsman and levirate marriage. Property redemption by a relative assured that land would not remain outside the family. Levirate marriage involves a childless widow marrying her husband's brother to provide an heir for the deceased husband. Boaz, a close relative of Ruth, redeemed the family property for her, married her, and fathered Obed, who became heir to the property of Ruth's deceased first husband. Ruth and Naomi's desperate conditions changed for the better when Boaz agreed to be their kinsman redeemer. This resulted in blessing for Ruth and for Naomi. Redemption also brought blessing to the community and, through David, to the nation. Ultimate redemption would finally come through David's quote-unquote son, Jesus the Christ. In him, redeemed people of all nations, no longer strangers and aliens, become fellow citizens in God's household. And that key verse is 116, which reads, But Ruth said, Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. The first key takeaway is faith requires wholehearted commitment. Ruth did not merely choose Naomi. She chose Naomi's God. Her commitment wasn't conditional on blessings or comfort. She stepped into an unknown future because she believed God was worthy of following. Throughout the rest of the book, Ruth continually demonstrates that genuine faith is lived out through faithful obedience, even when circumstances are difficult. The journal prompts for the first key takeaway are: what comforts or securities am I still clinging to instead of fully trusting God? If someone observed my daily life, would they conclude that my identity is rooted in Christ above everything else? Where is God inviting me to say, where you lead, I will follow, even if I cannot see the outcome? The second key takeaway is God honors faithfulness in ordinary obedience. Ruth's decision seems small at the time, simply staying with Naomi. But God used that ordinary act of faithfulness to accomplish extraordinary redemption. The book of Ruth reminds us that God often works behind the scenes through everyday acts of obedience. Ruth gleaned in a field, cared for Naomi, and faithfully worked. None of those actions appeared miraculous, yet each one was part of God's sovereign plan. The journal prompts for the second key takeaway are: what ordinary act of obedience is God asking me to remain faithful in today? Am I tempted to overlook small opportunities because they don't seem significant? How might God be using today's faithfulness to prepare tomorrow's purpose? The third key takeaway is redemption begins with surrender. Before Ruth ever met Boaz, she surrendered herself completely to God. Redemption did not begin in the barley field. It began on the road to Moab. The entire book points beyond Boaz to Jesus Christ, our ultimate Redeemer. Just as Ruth left her old homeland to become part of God's covenant family, believers leave behind their old life and are welcome into God's family through Christ. Ruth's story demonstrates that God's redemption is available to anyone who comes to him in humble faith, regardless of their past. The journal prompts for the third key takeaway are: is there an area of my life that I have surrendered partially, but not completely? How has God's redemption changed the direction of my own story? In what ways can I help others experience the hope of God's redeeming love? So, I'm going to do for the personal reflection part today the first key takeaways, second question. And partially because today's my day off. So I've already done part of my day, and the rest of my day is still yet to come. So that question is: if someone observed my daily life, would they conclude that my identity is rooted in Christ above everything else? So this morning, I woke up, got ready, got the pups ready by feeding them and making sure they went to the bathroom and everything. And right after that happened, I got a call from my husband, and we talked for a little bit, and it was wonderful. And when he got home, he asked if, or on the phone call rather, he asked if I got the chicken feed for the chickens yesterday, like he asked me to, and I did. And it was still in my car because I was waiting for him to carry it out, because I may be strong, but I'm only slightly strong. It was a 50-pound bag of chicken feed, and it's just really heavy. So we had it at the house. It just wasn't with the chickens. So when he got home from work, he took care of that. And he asked if we had any food at the house, and we didn't. My yesterday day off ended up taking a little bit more time with my friend, which isn't a bad thing. I was just very pooped whenever I got home, so I didn't feel like fighting with the 5 o'clock after work HEB traffic. Like, not I could do regular traffic, but we have a very small grocery store where we're at, so the amount of influx of people after work is just insane to deal with. So sadly, I didn't want to deal with that yesterday, but this morning I did, and it was perfect. There weren't that many people. There was just enough shopping carts in the aisle that I could like maneuver around them, and it was honestly a lot of fun. I tried a new way of doing our shopping list and like planning, but that's neither here nor there. It worked out great. And I went from one section to the next section without missing anything, which is super important. So I am a couple days behind in my Ephesians Bible study that I'm doing with an online group. I missed yesterday because I recorded yesterday and I could just make excuses, but I missed it. Today, I'm planning to not miss it and go to the cafe and edit the videos, do the studies, and yeah, my plan at the cafe is to catch up. Man, so now that I'm saying this, maybe not. I'm a little bit behind in all of my studies, but I'm continuing to try, which is honestly all that God asks for, is that we keep coming back to Him. So I'm behind in my Ephesians study. I'm behind in my small group Bible study. We're doing Leviticus this week, and I'm in chapter 8, Exodus, for reading all of it again with them. So gotta catch up on that. I gotta edit the videos, and yeah, I'm planning to just enjoy this hot day inside. And then after that, so my battery died, which is fine. But where was I? So after the cafe, I'm planning on going to First Tuesday at my church, which is PYA, Praise Young Adults, and I'm gonna have to take full advantage of it while I'm technically in it, because the age cap is 35. I say that quotation marks because we do have some older folks that still come. Yeah, the plan is to go to PYA after spending my time inside at the cafe, because today is super hot. It's only 11 o'clock. Okay, it's about noon, which makes sense because it's pretty toasty out here. I'm probably gonna have a weird tan, but it's fine. But yeah, I guess kind of the point of it is, like, even though I am behind in some studies, that I am continuing to show up. Like, I'm not letting the devil get me down and say that, like, oh, you missed those 2 days, like, you're so terrible, like, how dare you think that you can, like, go back to Him. Like, we can always come back to Him, and He's waiting for us with open arms, just waiting to give us a big old hug, come like running back to Him. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you heard whatever it is you needed to hear today. And until next week, friends, I'll see you then, and have a blessed one.